so outlandish that it should not be considered and viewed with a censure. But at the same time, I hope with a steady eye, we must forget the solid assurance of sea power and those which belong to air power, if it can be locally exercised. I have myself full confidence that if all do their duty, if nothing is neglected, and if the best arrangements are made, are being made, we shall prove ourselves once again able to defend our island, to ride out the storms of war, and to outlive the menace of tyranny. If necessary for years, if necessary alone, at any rate, that is what we are going to try to do. This is the resolve of His Majesty's government, every man for them. That is the will of Parliament and the nation. The British Empire and the French Republic linked together in their cause and in their need to defend to death their native soil, aiding each other like good comrades to the utmost of their strength. Even though large trades of Europe and many old and famous states are falling to make fall into grip of the gospel and the prodigious apparatus of Nassau rule, we shall not flag nor fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the sea and the oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing ground. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. And even if, which I do not for any moment believe, this island or a large part of it is subjugated and starving, then our empire beyond the seas, armed and guided by the British fleet, would carry on the struggle until in God's good time, the new world, with all its power, might step forth to rescue and the liberation of the world. With that, come to the end of Mr. Church's who will fight at the beaches. Mr. Church's speech on the beaches has some invaluable lessons for us to learn. The first lesson is relentless in the face of adversity. The British and the French have been faced with violence and adversity from the Nazis. But the relentless spirit of the British Army under Winston Churchill as the then Prime Minister were relentless. Leadership and inspiration is another lesson we can learn from Winston Churchill. He was a great leader and inspiration to his people and inspiration to the army as well. Strength of collective action. We would also see that, we would also learn that Winston Churchill showed strength and inspiration. Lead with inspiration. Winston Churchill was a leader who led his people with inspiration. He mentioned that they will fight on every possible ground and will achieve victory. And that is where the title of the speech was called from. He said, we will even find on the beaches. Foster collaboration and unity. We can also learn from this speech that it is not we cannot win some battles alone. The French and the British had to come together to fight against the Nazis. The Bulgarians, they fought alongside with the Bulgarians too. So collaboration is important for victory. Then we should also cultivate the habit of hope and optimism. Let us be hopeful regardless of whatever situation or condition we find ourselves. So with that, we finally end our discussion on Christian churches, mission fight, or the beaches. We'll be moving to this beautiful address, Education First. Education First by Malala Yousafzai. Malala Yousafzai. Education First. We'll be revisiting this address by Malala Yousafzai. Education First. In the realm of global education advocacy, few voices resonate as powerfully as that of Malala Yousafzai, a young woman who defined adversity and risk her life in pursuit of fundamental human rights, education. On July 12, 2013, at the United Nations Youth Assembly, Malala delivered a compelling and impassioned speech titled Education First. Sorry, I did a pen. It was her first public address after being shot at in the head by the Taliban in her native country of Pakistan the previous October. She and her fellow students were shot for going to school because the Taliban does not believe in girls getting an education. This is a woman that has sacrificed a lot. She was shot at the head, and still she was relentless in her advocacy for education. In this landmark address, she shared her personal journey, recounting the harrowing experience that ultimately led to her becoming a beacon of hope and relentless for millions around the world. With unwavering determination and a call to action, Malala's speech shed light on transformative power of education and eradicating poverty, promoting peace and achieving gender equality. Today, let us revisit this momentous speech and dive into the remarkable wisdom and unwavering commitment of Malala Yousafzai as she advocates for a world where education is not just a privilege but a universal right for all. Please, can I get a pen? Malala Yousafzai was a woman, like I said in my previous address, having been shot on the head by the Pakistan army for training the girl child education. She was still relentless in her advocacy for education. So we'll be revisiting her words, and we will also look at lessons we can learn from them and draw calls to action as we've done from previous inspirational leaders. Let us bear in mind that all the speeches that are being read to us are to inspire us, are to bring about a better change in our current world. Today, this is Malana Yusuf Bisaw's word. Today, it is an honor for me to be speaking after a long time. Being here with such honorable people is a great moment in my life. And it is an honor for me that today I am wearing a soul of the late Benazir Bhutto Said. I do not know where to begin my speech. I don't know what people will be expecting me to say, but first of all, thank you to God for whom we are all equal, and thank you to every person who prayed for my fast recovery and new life. I cannot believe how much love people have shown me. I have received thousands of good wishes cards, gifts from all over the world. Thank you to all of them. Thank you to the children whose innocent words encourage me. Thank you to all my elders whose prayer strengthens me. I would like to thank my nurses, doctor, and staff of the hospital in Pakistan and in the UK, and the UAE government who helped me get better and recover my strength. I fully support Mr. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General, on his Global Education First initiative and the work of the Special Envoy. I thank them for the leadership they continued to give. They continue to inspire all of us to action. Dear brothers and sisters, do remember one thing. Malana Day is not my day. Today is the day of every woman, every boy, and every girl who have raised their voice to their rights. There are hundreds of human rights activists and social workers who are not only speaking for their rights, but who are struggling to achieve their goal of peace, education, and equality. Thousands of people have been killed by the terrorists and millions have been injured. I am just one of them. So here I stand, one girl among many. I speak not for myself, but so those who without a voice can be heard. Those who have fought for their right to live in peace, their right to be treated with dignity, their right to fight equality of opportunity, their right to be educated. Dear friends, on the 9th of October 2012, the Taliban shot me on the left side of my forehead. They shot my friends too. They thought that the bullets would silence us. But they failed. And out of that silence came thousands of voices. But nothing changed in my life except this: weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage was born. I am the same Malana. My ambition are the same. My hope are the same, and my dream are the same. Dear sisters and brothers, I am not against anyone, neither am I here to speak in terms of personal revenge against the Taliban or any other terrorist group. I'm here to speak for the rights of education of every child. I want education for the sons and daughters of the Taliban and for all terrorists and extremists. I do not even hate the Talibs who shot me on the head. Even if there was a gun in my hand and he was standing in front of me, I would not kill him. This is the compassion I have learned from Muhammad, the prophet of mercy, Jesus Christ, our Lord Buddha. This is the legacy of change I have inherited from Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and from Muhammad al-Jinnah. This is the philosophy of non-violence that I have learned from Gary Batia Khan and Mother Teresa. And this is the forgiveness that I have learned from my father and from my mother. This is what my soul is telling me: be peaceful and love everyone. And this is the forgiveness I have learned from my father and my mother. This is what my soul is telling me: be peaceful and love everyone. Dear sisters and brothers, we realize the importance of light when we see darkness. We realize the importance of our voice when we are silenced. In the same way, when we were in Swat, the north of Pakistan, we realized the importance of pens and books. The wise saying, the pen is mightier than the sword, is true. The extremists were and they are afraid of books and pens. The power of education frightens them, and they are afraid of women. This is why they killed 14 innocent students in the recent attack in Quetta. And that is why they kill female teachers and polio workers in Kabul. This is why they are blasting schools every day, because they were and are afraid of change and equality. That is why we will bring to you our society. And I remember that there was a boy in our school who was asked by a journalist, why are the Taliban against education? He answered very simply by pointing to his book and said, a Talib does not know what is written inside this book. They think that God is a tiny little conservative being who will point guns at people's head just for going to school. The terrorists are misusing the name of Islam in Muslim society and for their own personal benefit. Pakistan is a peace-loving, democratic country. Muslims want education for their daughters and sons. Islam is a religion for peace, humanity, and brotherhood. Islam says it is not only each child's right to get education, rather, it is their duty and responsibility. Honorable Secretary General, peace is a necessity for education. In many parts of the world, especially Pakistan and Afghanistan, terrorism, wars, conflicts stop children from going to school. We are really tired of these wars. Children and women are suffering in many ways in many parts of the world. In India, innocent and poor children are victims of child labor. Many schools have been destroyed in Nigeria. People in Afghanistan have been affected by the orders of extremists for decades. Young girls have to do domestic child labor and are forced to get married at early age. Poverty, ignorance, injustice, racism, and the deprivation of basic rights are the main problems faced by both men and women. Dear fellows, today I am focusing on women's rights and girls' education because they are suffering the most. Activists ask men to stand up for their rights, but this time we will do it by ourselves. I'm not telling men to step away from speaking for women's rights. Rather, I am focusing on women to be independent to fight for themselves. Dear sisters and brothers, now it is time to speak up. Today, we call upon the world leaders to change their strategic policies in favor of peace and prosperity. We call upon the world leaders that all the peace deals must protect women and children's rights to education. A deal that goes against the dignity of women and their rights is unacceptable. We call upon all governments to ensure free compulsory education for every child all over the world. We call upon all governments to fight against terrorism and violence, to protect children from brutality and harm. We call upon the developed nations to support the expansion of educational opportunities for girls in the developing world. We call upon all communities to be tolerant, to reject prejudice based on caste, creed, sect, color, religion, or gender, to ensure freedom and equality for women so that they can flourish. We cannot all succeed when half of us are held back. We call upon our sisters around the world to be brave, to embrace the strength within ourselves and realize the full potential. Dear brothers and sisters, we will continue our journey to our destination of peace and education for everyone. No one can stop us. We will speak for our rights and we will bring change through our voice. We believe in the power and the strength of our words. Our words can change the world because we are all together, united for the cause for education. And if we want to achieve our goal, let us empower ourselves with the weapon of knowledge, and let us shield ourselves with unity and togetherness. Dear brothers and sisters, We must not forget that millions of people are suffering from poverty, injustice, and especially ignorance. We must not forget that millions of children are out of school. We must not forget that our sisters and brothers are waiting for a bright, peaceful future. Let us wage a global struggle against illiteracy, poverty, and terrorism. Let us pick ourselves and our books and pen. They are our most powerful weapons. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. Education is the only solution. Education first. These are the words of Malama Yousafzai. Malama Yousafzai was a woman that, in spite of the predicament she faced in her adventure and in her activities of promoting education of the girl child, despite being shot at, despite being almost killed and harassed by the Pakistani armies, she was relentless in lending her voice for change. And her focus is the women and the girl child education. Education first for a woman. She was particular on addressing the fact that women should speak for themselves. They should not let the speaking be for the men alone. Women should rise and speak for themselves. And a very particular lesson that we can learn from her speech is that education is a fundamental right for everyone, regardless of the religion. Education is a fundamental right for everyone, regardless of the religion. As Malama Yousafzai was, we should be courageous. Another lesson we can learn is the power of education. She said, one teacher, one student, one pen, and one book can change the world. That is the power of education. Empowering girl child through education too is another lesson that we can learn from a message. Relentless of the human spirit. We should be relentless, regardless of whatever might be in the cause for our agitation. We should be relentless. Now, call to action from her words. What should we do with these words in this modern day? We must advocate for education. Education is a right for every child, regardless of the gender. Education is a right for every child, regardless of the gender. We must empower girls and women. It should be a deliberate effort by everyone to ensure that there is no discrimination when it comes to empowering women. Women should be allowed to choose career paths for themselves. We should engage in local and global partnership to solve these problems as well. We should support educational reforms. As citizens, when we see reforms that would help our educational system, we should support them. We should support them. For example, recently we had a similar educational reform in Nigeria when the government introduced the student loans. We should support educational reforms. We should bridge digital divide. Now, bridging digital divide in the sense that there are still some people that are still of primitive ideas in such that they still believe that the women will end up not in need of education. So we should find a way to bridge this divide. We should let these people know that regardless of the gender, either a male or a female child, they deserve education. So these are lessons and call to action from Malama Yessa's speech. So moving quickly, we'll be revisiting Ellen Johnson's words. We'll be revisiting Ellen Johnson's address titled Walking Out of Poverty, Decent Work Approach to Development and Growth in Africa. Walking out of poverty, decent work approach to development and growth in Africa. In the vast and diverse continent of Africa, where the challenges of poverty and economic inequality persist, a beacon of leadership and inspiration emerged from Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. With unwavering commitment and an indomitable spirit, she embarked on a transformative journey to tackle poverty through the lens of decent work and sustainable development. In a thought-provoking speech, the Walking Out of Poverty, Decent Work Approach to Development and Growth in Africa, delivered with the eloquence and passion, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf shed light on the critical role of decent work in fostering inclusive growth and eradicating poverty across the African continent. Within the pages that follow, we dive into the profound insight of this visionary leader, exploring her visions, strategies, and enduring lessons that hold the potential to uplift communities, empower individuals, and shape the path towards a prosperous and equitable Africa. Let us go into our words. Madam Mary Robinson, former president of Ireland, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, now president of Realizing Rights. Mr. Prenga, Deputy Regional Director of Policy and Program and representative of the ILO, Director General. Mr. Jordan Ryan, Deputy SRSG representing the SRSG. Honorable Samuel Kofi Woods, Minister of Labour, Head of Delegation, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me extend my warm welcome to all of you to Liberia, and to thank you for traveling long distances and taking time out of your busy schedule to show your support for this country. It means a great deal to us, and so many people will join us in our efforts to achieve peace and development. I want to thank those who have spent hours over the last few months organizing this workshop. I want to particularly thank the International Labour Organization, ILO, the Realizing Hearts, the Ethical Globalization Initiative, the Ministry of Labour, and all other partners for their support in organizing, supporting, and funding this workshop. Our special thanks goes to my very good friend, Her Excellency Mary Robinson, the President of the Realizing Rights, former President of Ireland, and former United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, for her continuous support to our efforts. Madam Robinson referred to your communication in July this year, in which you provided updates on your support to Liberia and confirmed your joint commitment to holding this workshop in Monrovia. Thank you sincerely. We would also like to acknowledge the role of the International Labour Organization ILO in the campaign for decent work. The primary goal of the ILO today is to promote opportunities for women and men to maintain decent and productive work in conditions of freedom, equality, security, and human dignity. Decent work is the converging focus of all for its four strategic objectives: the promotion of rights at workplace, employment, social protection, and social dialogue. It is an honor for us in Libya to host this important international workshop. It comes at a time when we have launched and commenced the implementation activity of our poverty reduction strategy, now referred to as Lifting Liberia. One of the government's most important goals during the poverty reduction strategy period is to promote the rapid creation of productive employment that will reduce poverty, ensure peace and stability, and ensure the overall well-being of the Liberian population. As this workshop deliberates on issues of trends in the labor market, including employment and economic growth, local economic development, and employment-intensive investment, approach for reconstruction and recovery include government and social dialogue, and social prevention, and social nest. It is my hope that this workshop will take Liberia's commitment forward. Liberians are anxious to build a new nation that is peaceful, secure, and prosperous, with democratic and accountable government based on the rule of law, and with abundant employment and economic opportunities. The next 3 years will therefore be critical. Success or failures rest in our hands. The legacy of our civil crisis has left in its trace the overwhelming effect of not only unemployment but also vulnerable employment, which subjects our citizens to inhuman and often degrading work conditions. Liberia is anxious to build a nation that is peaceful, secure, and prosperous, with democratic and accountable governance, based on the rule of law, with an abundant employment and economic opportunities. The next 3 years will therefore be critical. Successes or failure rest in our hands. The legacy of our civic society, the legacy of our civil crisis has left in a trace the overwhelming effects of not only unemployment but also vulnerable employment, which subjects our citizens to inhuman and often degrading work conditions. We must work collectively to improve these conditions for both workers and their employers. This is why our government sought the renegotiation of various concessions agreements and continue to support the growth and development of responsible worker unions and employers organizations. We must forge ahead as quickly as possible. We need to see results now and show people that peace, democracy, hard work, and accountability pays off with real dividends. It is therefore my hope that this workshop will address all the bottlenecks and constraints that will ensure results and make this international event a memorable and meaningful one for all Liberians. Madam Mary Robinson, Mr. Umka, Mr. Jordan, heads of delegation, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, our decent work agenda has well been articulated by the Ministry of Labour under its delivered within the PRS. The ministry has identified 4 strategic but interrelatable objectives for the attainment of this agenda. Strengthening the national capacity for employment creation, strengthening labor administration, promoting a culture of constructive social dialogue, development of labor market information and analysis system. Each of these have been developed into concept notes with key activities, timelines, and cost. It is my hope that this workshop will set the stage for our financial support to the ministry as mentioned by Minister Woods. Lots of work has been done, lots is being done, and much more remain to be done. While the greatest responsibility of the implementation of the outcome of the forum lies in our government, you, the partners, have shared the interest in ensuring that we gain as a result of our deliberation is sustained. It is my hope that in coming years, decent work as a concept will become visible reality. Again, thank you for your support provided, and we look forward to working with you beyond these 2 days in the future. I pledge to you, this government, and my personal commitment in support of this workshop and outcome. With this said, I now declare the workshop of Working Out of Poverty, Decent Work Approach to Development and Growth in Africa officially open. Thank you. Her Excellency Ellen Johnson's speech on working out of poverty and decent work approach to development and growth in Africa imparts several valuable lessons that resonate not only with the African context but also in the pursuit of sustainable development worldwide. Here are some key lessons we can glean from her speech. Number 1, transformative power of decent work. President Sirleaf emphasized the profound impact of decent work as a catalyst for development. Work and labor translate into economic development. By prioritizing the creation of quality employment opportunities, societies can uplift individuals, improve livelihood, and foster inclusive growth. The lesson here is to recognize the importance of decent work as a cornerstone for sustainable development efforts. Collaboration and partnership for success. We need to collaborate with many agencies to ensure that all efforts can be successful regarding alleviation of poverty, embracing gender equality and empowerment. As Africa's first elected female head of state, as at that time, President Lifson has been a vocal advocate for gender equality. Her speech underscores the vital role of empowering women and girls. Investing in education and skills development. For Africa to get out of poverty, according to President Salif, we must invest in education and skills development. From our speech also, we have call to actions. We have call to actions that we can pick from our speech. We must prioritize decent work and inclusive growth. Everybody, whether as a government, as an individual, we must try to empower our people. We must try to promote and prioritize decent work. We must learn to foster multi-stakeholder partnership to achieve certain successes. To achieve certain successes, we must partner with people. As a body, as a person, as an individual, you may have certain resources while the other person asks another resource. You might have the money, you partner with another person that probably asks the people. You might have the people, you partner with someone that has the money. This is multi-stakeholder partnership to ensure that we achieve success in our endeavors, especially when it comes to human development. Now, we have come to the end of the speech by President Salif and our words in alleviating poverty in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be revisiting the word of our Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, SAN. And before that, I would firstly like to appreciate God on his behalf for his quick recovery and his return back to our dear Sunshine State. We pray that God will continue to grant him sound health and wish him well in his endeavor as the governor of our Sunshine State. Amen. Now we'll revisit his word on building a prosperous future together. We'll be revisiting his word on building a prosperous future together. On the historic day of February 24, 2017, February 24, 2017, we witnessed a momentous occasion as Governor Akeredolu takes the oath of office for his first term as leader and governor of Ondo State. With a palpable sense of excitement and hope, we came together to witness the beginning of a new era for our beloved state. As we stood up at the threshold of progress and transformation, Governor Akeredolu's inaugural speech is poised to set the tone of his administration, vision, and commitment to upholding the lives of the people of Ondo State, with a clear agenda for change and a determination to steer Ondo State towards prosperity. Governor Akeredolu's words will surely resonate with every citizen, promising a future filled with opportunities and hope. So we want to revisit Governor Akeredolu's words at his inaugural speech as the governor of our Sunshine State. And after the speech, we will see that Governor Akeredolu has also been a voice of change. The source of the speech is Daily Post. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a momentous occasion in the history of Ondo State as I stand before you, taking the oath as your newly sworn governor. I am deeply honored and humbled by the trust you have placed in me to lead this great state towards a future of prosperity and hope. With a clear agenda of change and a vision for a better life for the people, I am committed to transforming Ondo State from the shackles of grinding poverty to a land of opportunity and progress. To achieve this ambitious mission, there is but one thing I ask from each and every one of you: an attitude of belief and transformation. We must become change evangelists, possessing a missionary's zeal to succeed. As we embark on this journey together, we must recognize the power of attitude in the driving force behind any successful culture and society. With unwavering faith and courage, we can rise above our imperfections and build a new Ondo state where honesty, prosperity, confidence, and regime supreme. Our beloved state has faced challenges in almost every sector, and the consequences of our collective shortcomings are evident in form of grinding poverty and hopelessness among our people. However, let us not dwell on the misfortunes, but focus on bringing new paths of progress. I firmly believe that Ondo State is particularly blessed with men and women of great quality, and together we can set the pace for others to follow. One of the foremost areas we will address is education. It is no secret that the state of our educational sector is in crisis, having many honest indigents concerned about the future of our youth. Education is the bedrock of any society's development and will prioritize its revival and rejuvenation. As a governor, I am committed to ensuring that every child in Edo State has access to quality education that prepares them for the challenges of the modern world. We will invest in infrastructure, train them for the challenges of the modern world. We will invest in infrastructure, train and motivate teachers, and provide the necessary tools and resources to equip our educational institution of excellence. These are Governor Akeredu's words. Moreover, we must tackle the issue of unemployment, which is endemic in our state. The traditional approach of relying solely on white-collar jobs is no longer sustainable. Instead, we must foster an environment conducive to job creation through agriculture, entrepreneurship, and industrialization. We will work to diversify our economy, tapping into the vast potential of agriculture and supporting budding entrepreneurs to grow and expand our businesses. We will unleash the full potential of our people, providing them with opportunities for growth and self-reliance. To accomplish our shared goals, I will lead a patriotic, virile, and competent team that will steer the affairs of our state with dedication and integrity. Together, we will prioritize massive infrastructural development and maintenance, ensuring that our roads, bridges, public utilities are of high standard. Improved infrastructure will not only enhance the quality of life for our citizens, but also attract investors and spur economic growth across the state. Furthermore, access to quality education and technology will be the bedrock of our society. Empowering our youth with the robust skills and knowledge necessary to compete in the global arena, a robust healthcare and social delivery system will also be put in place to ensure that every citizen has access to essential medical services. Health is wealth, and a healthy population is essential for the progress and prosperity of any society. We will invest in healthcare, infrastructure, train medical personnel, and promote preventive healthcare practices to improve the overall well-being of our people. Moreover, we must not forget the importance of rural development. And community extension services. Oftentimes, rural areas are neglected, leading to disparities and marginalization. We will work towards progress and prosperity. We must ensure that no part of Ondo State is left behind. Rural development initiative will uplift the lives of our rural communities, providing them with equal opportunities for growth and development. As we embark on this transformative journey, we must embrace the diversity of opinion that comes with democracy and party politics. Dividends of ideas is an integral part of a thriving democratic society. And we must cherish the right to express our views while working towards common goal. As we embark on this transformative journey, we must embrace the diversity of our opinion that comes with democracy and party politics. Diversity of idea is an integral part of a thriving democratic system, and we must cherish this right to express our views while working towards common goal. However, I urge all of us to unite and subjugate our individual wills for the greater good of the state. Party supremacy must be respected, for it is through collective and an effort that positive change can be brought about in the lives of our people. Our blueprints for change will be based on these 5 cardinal objectives: job creation, infrastructure development, functional education, accessible health care, rural development. In coming days, we will unveil the details of our philosophy, vision, sectoral policies, organs and actions, all aimed at uplifting lives of every citizen on those days. Let us remember that the welfare of our people shall be based on our collective activities. We are determined to resurrect our economy, resuscitate our dying infrastructure, and restore hope to every household. I have faith that with our unwavering support and the guidance of God, we can overcome any obstacle our path. Together, let us build a new Ondo State where transparency, rule of law, and social responsibility prevail. I call upon each one of you to be change agents in your community, spreading the message of hope and transformation. Together, we will create a society where every citizen thrives, where opportunities abound, and where Ondo State stands as beacon of progress for the entire nation. I firmly believe that our state's fortunes will change for better, not by the alignment of stars, but by the power of our collective will and the strength of our resolve. We will rise above the challenge, and through our combined effort, we will create a society I believe that our state fortunes will change for the better, not for the alignment of stars, but by the power of our collective will and strength of our resolve. We will rise above the challenges, and through our combined efforts, we will create a society that future generations will be proud to inherit. Before I conclude, I must express my gratitude To the citizens of Ondo State who have cast their ballots in favor of our programs, your trust is not misplaced, and I assure you that you are determined to make a positive difference during our tenure. For those who express their preferences, I want you to know that your concerns are not ignored. Your anxieties will be addressed realistically. Together, we will all be involved in the reconstruction project. And the collective interest of the state will be our paramount focus. In conclusion, I stand before you with the guidance of God, and I resolve not to renege in our programs, that the welfare of the people of Ondo State shall be the basis of all our collective activities. We intend to resurrect our economy and resuscitate our dying infrastructure. We intend to restore hope and return our state to a prosperous land. We are determined to break down the barriers that have made stagnation possible. We will break down the barriers to honest leadership. We will break down the barriers to comprehensive development. We will break down the barriers to fiscal growth and social responsibility. All these are intended to go through the promotion of transparent leadership, rule of law, extensive consultation, quality, and accessible public utilities and social security. All we intend to do in a sustainable manner. Together, we will make Ondo State a model for progress and development, a state where every citizen can strive and achieve their highest aspiration. Our journey towards prosperity may be challenging, but with an unveiling attitude of belief and transformation, we will overcome every obstacle and build a brighter future for generations to come. May God bless each and every one of you, and may God bless Ondo State. Thank you. So these are the words of Mr. Governor, the Governor of Ondo State, at his inaugural speech. These are the words that and promises he made to the people when he was sworn in as the governor of the state. So, what are the lessons we can learn from the speech of Mr. Governor? Leadership with humility. From the speech, we can learn that the governor's acknowledgement of feeling deeply honored and humbled by the trust placed in him highlights the importance of humility in leadership. Humble leaders are more likely to be empathetic, approachable, and responsive to the needs of the people. Another thing we can learn from Mr. Governor's speech is embracing change and transformation. The call for an attitude of belief and transformation emphasizes the need for all citizens to be change agents in their communities. Embracing change and actively working towards transformation is vital for progress and development in any society. Prioritizing education. Governor Akeredolu's focus on relieving and rejuvenating the educational sector reflects the understanding that education is a foundation of social development. Investing in quality education ensures a brighter future for the youth and overall growth for the state. Diversifying the economy. The recognition for the need to diversify the economy away from traditional white-collar jobs demonstrates an understanding of the importance of entrepreneurship, agriculture, and industrialization in creating job opportunities and economic growth. And you will agree with me that the government of Mr. Governor has actually increased the economic, the GDP rate of the state, and the state is proud of being one of the state that has increased in terms of economic growth. Inclusiveness and rural development. The commitment, the governor mentioned that is committed to providing equal opportunities for growth and development in the rural areas. And this is evident in the newly established LCDAs that has been signed by even the governor. Neglecting rural communities can lead to disparities and marginalization, hindering overall progress. Transparency and the rule of law. The emphasis on transparent leadership and adherence to the rule of law underscores the importance of accountable governance. Collaboration and unity. Governor Akeredolu's call for unity and subversion of individual wills for greater good highlights the significance of collaboration among different stakeholders to achieve shared goals. Sustainable development. The commitment to promoting sustainable development through accessible public utilities and social security indicates a focus on long-term well-being of the citizens and the state. As we reflect Governor Akeredolu's inaugural speech from February 24, 2017, there are several call to actions that remain relevant even till today. We must embrace change and transformation. We must prioritize education. We must diversify the economy. We must foster inclusivity and rural development. Transparency and accountability. We must collaborate and unite in all of our activities. We must promote sustainable development. By heeding to this call to action, we can build a brighter and more prosperous future for our communities and nations. It requires commitment, determination, and the belief that together we can overcome the challenges and create a world where every individual has the opportunity to strive. Let us draw inspiration from Governor Akeredolu's speech and work collectively towards a better and more sustainable future for all. And that's it on Governor Akeredolu's inaugural speech. We'll be revisiting the words of Professor Yemi Osinbajo. We'll be revisiting his words on pathway to progress. Pathway to progress. Professor Yemi Osinbajo, pathway to progress. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, audiences, it is a great pleasure and honor that I am before you today and to revisit a remarkable speech delivered by His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo on October 3rd, 2018. This speech, presented at the Barawas Old Boys Association Annual Lecture Series, reflects the wisdom and foresight of the leader dedicated to Nigeria's progress and realization of higher and nobler standard of our society. As we gather here today, let us dive into the profound insight shared by Professor Yemi Osinbajo as he addresses critical issues of national development, the challenges faced by our democracy, the importance of justice, and the transformative effort by the government to uplift the lives of our fellow citizens. With the spirit of unity and a commitment to civic responsibility, let us draw inspiration from this speech to give way for a better future of our beloved nation. The speech I'm about to read, Pathway to Progress by Professor Yemi Osinbajo, was from Yemi Osinbajo's Speech Archives. Protocols. The Barawa Old Boys Association deserves commendation for hosting these lectures on national development through the years. Indeed, going through the years, you will notice that from 1986, almost constantly, with a few breaks here and there, they have been this series of lectures on issues of national development. But more so, they deserve our commendation for the choice of subject of lectures, and that has been the focus of how to hold our nation and society and its leadership to promote for higher and global standard. Our leadership, our society, our nation must be held to that promise of higher and global standard. This great college, Barawa College, has nurtured some of the brightest and most courageous and most patriotic minds that this nation has ever seen. The great visionary Sir Ahmed Bello, the southerner of Sokoto, who was responsible for ensuring the organization of the northern Nigeria into the federal system that our nation has become. His incredible foresight led a lot of the educational development of that northern Nigeria has experienced, especially in those early days in Nigeria. Nigeria's first Prime Minister, Alhaji Tafawa Balewa, the golden voice of Africa, whose vision for a united nation withstood the challenges of time. And until today, his vibrant words of unity continue to echo among us. It is he who said, and I quote, "We must recognize our diversity and the peculiar conditions under which the different parts of the community live. The federal system under the present condition, the only sure basis that Nigeria will remain united." Sir Kazim Ibrahim, Nigeria's first indigenous Governor General in the northern Nigeria, and of course, Malam Aminu Kano, perhaps Nigeria's most articulate proponent of the pathway to social justice, especially in a desperately poor society, and General Muritala Mohammed, who was killed as he courageously led an attempt at a Nigerian and an African ethical moral rebirth. And of course, today's chair and former head of state, who by the snare hand of God led the country when it was in an essential need to declare into a divided country that there was no victor, no vanquished. Alhaji Shehu Shagari, Nigeria's first executive president. Frankly, I do not know of any other Nigerian institution whose products have so definitely defined the course and point context of Nigerian history, such as the Barawa College. This sort of pervasive influence has its positives and negatives. The fact that the substance and tone of the lectures in this series have sought to focus the nation's mind in the most potent challenge and greatest opportunities for remedy or redemption gave me very high expectations of the lecture on the challenge of the judiciary to a democracy. The Nigerian perspective, the lecture so brilliantly delivered by His Royal Highness Alhaji Laman Hassan Gumi, retired Chief Judge of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory. His Lordship largely meets those expectations as he clearly makes the point about the importance of separation of power, the centrality of the rule of law, and the importance of respect for the arbitrary conclusion of our courts, whether they are palatable or not palatable. His Lordship expectedly gives a pass mark to the judiciary, his own consistency, and I quote him where he says, by and large, the judiciary has remained faithful to the Constitution and, by extension, democracy, by ensuring fair hearing and guarding against violation of democratic law. Ultimately, the aim of the judiciary is to maintain cohesion in society by arbitrating between man and man, as well as man and state. In Nigeria, I have no doubt that the judiciary has done a long way in achieving this. Notwithstanding the enormous challenges it encountered, I believe that His Lordship is right that the judiciary has served a most useful purpose. I am not entirely certain, though, that His Lordship has been as fair to the executive. Certainly, I do not believe that His Lordship entire conclusion of the executive have been entirely fair. Perhaps there is a need to correct some of the premises upon which His Royal Highness observations were based, so that we do not end up dismissing the very crucial point that His Lordship made. My Lord's assertion that nothing has changed with regards to democratic conduct, even in this administration, is not in my respective view. Borne out by the fact, for with respect, the relationship with the Executive and National Assembly, I think it's fair to say that this current executive has refrained from interfering with first the National Assembly's choice of leadership and the conduct of its affairs. Even though sometimes some may argue that it is detrimental and has considerably slowed down the work of the executive, but it has afforded us a valuable learning process. There has been no attempt under this government to stampede the legislature. It's easy to forget that Nigeria had 5 Senate presidents from 1999 to 2007. Very easy to forget. Several governors in the years gone by were forcefully impeached by the legislative, acting on the presumed behest of the federal government. Many of us remember Joshua Dariye impeached by 5 legislators as at about 6 a.m. in 2002. The 5-man House of Assembly sat under tight security and impeached the governor immediately after that. Michael Bhutan was sworn in as the governor. Peter Obi was impeached by legislators who moved into Awka at 5 a.m. and began sitting shortly after that. The House of Assembly members arrived at about 5 a.m. and made a short order of impeaching the then governor of Anambra State. Same as Chris Ngige, who was abducted by the police officers. I am sure many of us will remember. These are words of Professor Yemi Osibanjo. And at that time, it was said that the governor had resigned and the chief judge was promptly ordered to swear in his deputy, Okechu Ode, who immediately assumed the functions of the state government. Although the police claimed that they were taking the governor into protective custody, the embattled governor retaliated that he was abducted as hundreds of the supporters from the 21 local government at that time welcomed him back to the State House. The truth of the matter is that there have been several different violations that honored relationship between executive and the judiciary. We also remember Rashid Lajda, who was impeached in 2006. The Supreme Court upturned his impeachment. However, perhaps my lord may be excused for forgetting about the assault in 2017 on the National Assembly by the then executive. But my brother, His Excellency, the Governor of Kano State, will not forget, as at then he was the Right Honorable Speaker, and many of his colleagues resort to acrobatics to scale the walls of the National Assembly, which was then blocked apparently by executive order. When my lord excused that government from any form of misbehavior, I was surprised. I was the Attorney General in the Lagos when the executive withheld the funds due to our local government and due to our state. We were not able to recover it despite the Supreme Court order until after we had left office. In the same period, 2013-2014, I make this point because my lord had mentioned that perhaps the government of Umaru Yar'Adua, as well as Goodluck Jonathan, should be excused. But that same period, 2013-2014, if you recall, the governor's role came under severe executive interference. We remember the whole controversy was to whether 16 is greater than 19. Indeed, 16 was held at the time to be greater than 19. You will agree with me that a lot of what we are seeing today, and if you recall, also the executive at the time received the River State government house, and all this took place in very recent history. You agree with me that a lot has changed, at least with respect to that. We are no longer seeing this sort of things. The government has also in most recent times taken significant steps as police reforms, and we hope that these police reforms come into fruition. Under President Buhari, the National Assembly is, in my view, perhaps as its most independent since 1999. These changes have been brought about through democratic process and to some extent, despite the tension that must always exist between the executive and the legislature, all of these changes are still done and still made. Unsuccessful attempts have been made in the past to bring about an holistic financial autonomy of the legislative and judiciary in Nigeria. It's however, under this administration that we have ensured the financial autonomy has been established in state judiciaries and state house of assemblies. My lordship also appears to be a bit dissatisfied with the slogan that change begins with the individual. He says, and I do agree with him, that the change must begin with us. That is to say, the executive. It was the great Mahatma Gandhi who charged us to be the change we want to see. It is a call to civic responsibility. It is not an excuse, and I agree with him entirely. It is not an excuse for leadership not to own up to its own responsibility. But permit me to say that the change in our nation may not be difficult to see as all that clearly we have not seen all that we expect to see. But today, if we were to ask our brothers and sisters in the Northeast who watched Boko Haram siege 14 local government areas in Borno State in 2014, hoist their flags in different 14 local governments, saw schools and major roads closed and could not even celebrate Salah or Christmas for many years, then perhaps we will find that they will say they have seen some change. Or better still, if we seek to ask the 9.2 million school children and their parents in 48,000 schools in 26 states nationwide are eating 1 meal a day, perhaps they will say entirely they have seen some change. Two hundred and 97,000 indigents in 20 states now receiving monthly stipends under our conditional cash transfer program. All of those, each of them and the families that they represent, wouldn't agree that there is no change. Ask the contractors who they have returned to site since 2016, because our budget for roads have grown 20-fold since then. Ask the artisans and laborers who they have found jobs in many roads, railways, and housing projects. There is no state, and the Minister of Power, Works and Housing is here in Kano State today. No state in Nigeria is without a major federal government project today. All things presently stand, it is of course possible to say that the politicians have nothing to show for the lessons of the failures of the First and Second Republic, as my Lord has said. We must also say respectively that a lot of impunity that has come to define public office in Nigeria in terms of corruption, especially grand corruption, has been sanctioned under this administration. In this case, grand corruption because the society has a problem of corruption and a major problem concerning corruption affecting all institutions. Grand corruption is the case of corruption where the executive approves the taking of money directly from the treasury, the stealing of resources directly from the treasury experienced in the past few years. Today, that is no longer the case. Today, we do not have a situation where under a government, $292 million is taken from the treasury in one day and it simply disappeared. All the money we are giving to 2 million petty traders as 20 billion naira, if you look at what that can do, $100 million is 36 billion naira. In case of a fraudulent oil contract where $3 billion disappeared, and even as we speak, we are still struggling to get back. All of the days of the disappearance of large sums of money, the days of huge sums of money have stopped. We have stopped grand corruption. We have not got to the point where we are able to stop contractor corruption. It shows the extent of the problem. But God helping us, we will get to that point and our country will change. We will deal with those issues of corruption these days, the government is achieving far more with B2. We are earning 60% less than the previous government, and we have spent 2.7 trillion on capital infrastructure, the largest capital spend in the history of our country, despite 60% less. It is in the area of justice that we have perhaps some of the most important challenges. When I say justice, I mean our definition of justice. The truth is that the Nigerian elite see justice from the point of view of how we the elites are treated. If a member of our company, a member of our group, by group I refer to political, religious, or business elites. If justice begins to thrive, we will suddenly begin to shout injustice. Justice for the majority of our people who are poor, who are dispossessed, has a different definition. This is why, as a lawyer, I was greatly inspired by the thought of Malam Aminu Kano, because he understood what the concept of social justice meant. The Indian court, in defining what it is to have the right to life, says that a person doesn't have a right to social welfare. If a person does not have access to health care, to education, the right to life has been denied. This is the view of Malam Aminu Kano. That our country must provide for the extremely poor. That the whole purpose of government is to ensure that welfare for all, which is justice, must ensure that all forms of justice become a norm in our nation. Let me again thank and commend my Lord for this lecture. I will look at it again in greater detail now that I have a full copy. I will still write to you, my Lord, and send to you. Thank you very much for the time we have shared. God bless you. These are the speech of Professor Yemi Osibanjo, delivered at the Barewa Old School Association annual lecture on November 3rd, 2018. Now let's look at lessons learned from the speech. The first lesson is the legacy of the institution, Barewa College. We would see that from the speech of Professor Yemi Osibanjo, this college had produced Nigeria's history, that produced powerful people for a number of head of states. From the speech, you can also learn the importance of separation of power and rule of law. The speech underscores the importance of upholding principles of separation of powers. Professor Yemi Osibanjo in detail explained the role of how the present government, how their government at that time had been able or tried to separate powers, how they had tried to ensure that they as executive did not interfere in the issues of the legislative. He also explained how in previous administration before theirs, how they have managed issues and how they had interfered, comparing with what they had, how they had avoided interference. Challenges of democratic conduct. The speech acknowledges the challenges Nigeria has faced in the conduct of a democracy, including past instances of executive interference in the legislative and judiciary arm of government. The need for civic responsibility. The speech highlighted the importance of civic responsibility and emphasized that change could begin with each individual. Progress in government programs. The speech provides examples of various government programs and initiatives aimed at improving the lives of Nigeria. Tackling corruption. Professor Yemi Osinbajo mentioned how their government had tried to tackle corruption at that time. Then definition of justice. Professor Yemi Osinbajo differentiated between social justice, mentioning that the elite define justice separately from the ordinary people. That in most cases, what the elite, when justice is actually served to the elite, they cry. We hear cries of injustice. For example, when the elites are being made to face the consequences of their actions because of their voice, because of their influence and connection, they are quick to term that act of justice as injustice. Reflection on leadership. The speech encourages leaders to be fair in their assessment of their own actions and responsibilities. It emphasizes the need for leaders to be accountable and responsive to the needs of the people. Emphasis on social welfare. The speech advocates for the government to prioritize social welfare, providing access to health care, education, and other basic necessities for the poor and vulnerable segments of society. Please, I dropped something there. Emphasis on social welfare. The speech advocates for the government to prioritize social welfare, providing access to health care, education, and other basic amenities for the poor and vulnerable segments of society. Celebrating progress. The speech acknowledges the positive changes that have been made and urges a balanced assessment of progress in the nation. The speech recognizes the improvements made in various sectors while acknowledging areas that still need attention. Call to action from the speech include: embrace civic responsibility. Let's recognize that change begins with each individual taking responsibility of their actions and their choices. By actively participating in civic duties, we can collectively shape a more accountable and transparent society. Uphold the rule of law. It is crucial to respect and uphold the rule of law regardless of our position and affiliation. This means supporting the judiciary and the decisions, as well as ensuring that justice is accessible to all citizens. Demand good governance. From Professor Yemi Osinbajo's speech, we must hold our leaders accountable and demand for good governance. By actively engaging in political processes and advocating for transparency, we can help foster a culture of accountability and responsible leadership. Foster social justice. Emulate these principles of social justice advocated by leaders like Malam Aminu Kano. We should strive to address the need of the less privileged and work towards creating a more equitable society for all. Combat corruption. Take a fierce stance against corruption on all its forms. Support efforts to strengthen anti-corruption in all forms. Support efforts to strengthen anti-corruption institution, promote transparency in public affairs, and ensure that public resources are used for the common good. Support economic development. Encourage and participate in initiatives that promote economic growth and job creation. By supporting local businesses, entrepreneurs, and investment in infrastructure can contribute to a more prosperous nation. Emphasize unity. We must recognize and celebrate our diversity as a strength and work towards fostering national unity. Promote dialogue and understanding among different ethnic, religious, and cultural groups to build a more cohesive and harmonious society. Engage in education and skill development. We must support initiatives that provide quality education. Prioritize social welfare. We must advocate for policies and programs that addresses the need of the people. We must advocate for legislative autonomy as well as foster national pride, celebrate and promote Nigerian culture, heritage, and achievement to instill a sense of national pride and identify an identity among citizens. Embrace technology and innovation. Embrace and enhance the power of technology and innovation to address economic challenges, and drive economic growth. I dropped the message there. Support agriculture and food security. Encourage and participate in initiatives that promote cultural development and ensure food security for all Nigerians. Engage in peace building. Promote peace and harmony within our communities and across the nation. Embrace dialogue and reconciliation as tools to resolve conflict and build lasting peace. By acting on these call to actions by Professor Yemi Osibanjo, we can build a stronger and more prosperous Nigeria, honoring the legacy of our past leaders while shaping a brighter future for generations to come. And with that, we conclude the speech on by Professor Yemi Osibanjo of building a prosperous future. We go to the speech by Dr. Olusegun Mimiko. We'll revisit the messages of Dr. Olusegun Mimiko on journey towards a healthier nation. Journey towards an healthier nation. Journey towards an healthier nation. In this speech, in this inspiring speech delivered during the 22nd convention ceremony of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, former Ondo State Governor Dr. Olusegun Mimiko reflects on the monumental achievement in the state health sector during his first 6 years of his government. He proudly discussed the transformative strides made in maternal and child care, pioneering innovative initiatives to improve immunization rates and establishing world-class medical facilities. With the ultimate goal of universal access to affordable and qualitative healthcare services, the ex-governor calls for a collective effort to address the challenges in the healthcare system, urging leaders to seek indigenous ways to express grievances without compromising the well-being of the citizens. As he receives the prestigious Honorary Fellowship Award, Dr. Mimiko reminds us of his critical role the healthcare professionals in shaping a healthier and more prosperous Nigeria. The source of the speech is from the Tribune. Protocol. I stand here before you, a humble recipient of this award of Honorary Fellowship of the National Medical College, bestowed as a result of what the college described as the monumental achievement in the health sector of Ondo State. Over the last 6 years of our administration, thank the governing body for considering me worthy of this prestigious award. So I consider whatever my team and I have done to improve the lives of our people as being modest in scope. I'm particularly happy that our administration in Ondo State has a convergence of interest in the promotion of healthcare services with the National Postgraduate Medical Center. Nigeria, established as a tertiary institution at the apex of medical education with a vision to produce medical and dental specialists of the highest standards, who will provide world-class service in teaching, research, and healthcare. At inception of our administration in February 2009, we met a poorly funded, inadequately equipped health infrastructure mannered with ill-motivated and understaffed professional workforce. It did not help matters that the 2008 National Democratic Health Survey NDHS put Ondo State as having the worst maternal and child health indices in Southwest. In addition, Ondo had the unenviable reputation of being the only Southwest state and one of the few nationwide without a state-run teaching hospital for both under and postgraduate training. It was clear there had to be a total overhaul and reform of the health system, and we chose to put maternal and health care and child health care at the front banner of medical attention. We also resolute in the conviction that finances should not be a barrier to qualitative health care, and that for us to succeed, all pregnant women must be tackled from inception to delivery. 6 years down the line, our homegrown ABA Safe Motherhood program is today arguably one of the most successful and talked about healthcare initiative in the developing world. Whereas it is generally assumed that the developing world may not attain the Millennium Development Goals 4 and 5. Ondo State has reduced maternal and mortality ratio from a baseline of 545 per 100,000 births to a verifiable 157 per 1,000. Confidential inquiries into maternity deaths in Ondo State using verbal autopsies, May 2015. A reduction of over 70 concurrently, a facility-based 5-year audit of maternal mortality ratio at the Mother and Child Hospital Akure, arguably the busiest maternity center in Nigeria, with over 30 beds, showed a reduction from 708 per 1,000 beds in 2010 to over 208 per 100,000 in 2014, another fall of over 70%. We have gotten to the point that where over 90% of our pregnant women are being tackled at every point in time, and we have data to back it up. As regards child health, through our ORIRE, acronym for Ondo State Routine Immunization Reaching Everyone Always, ORIREWA, acronym from Ondo State Routine Immunization Reaching Everyone Always program, we have been able to mainstream routine immunization into our primary health care system. As a matter of fact, we have won consecutively the 2 and only edition of Bill and Melinda Gates National Leadership Award for Polio Eradication for 2013 and 2014. Furthermore, in the first quarter of the last year, we launched an innovative and pragmatic collaboration with traditional birth attendants and faith-based healers, incentivizing their referrals of pregnant women for delivery in public health facilities, while generally phasing them out, which we termed the ABA initiative. This is the first successful and sustainable statewide intervention to address the menace of unskilled attendants at deliveries, and has already attracted the attention of development partners. In 1 year of this initiative, 5,712 pregnant women have been referred from various TPA, mission homes, attendants to various health facilities across the state. The resultant delivery included 11 twins, 7 triplets, and 1 quadruplet set. It is apposite at this point to challenge our erudite scholars here present be more proactive in verifying data emanating from different sources, so as to differentiate genuine data back from politically generated ones. On another front, the Federal Ministry of Health estimate that Nigerians spend $500 million to $1 billion annually on overseas treatment, particularly in India, thereby resulting in capital flight of foreign exchange earnings. In Ondo State, we have decided to seize the bull by the horn in 2018 by establishing the world-class trauma and surgical center as part of an emergency medical system (EMS) to cater for several surgical specialties and victims of road traffic accidents. To date, the center has conducted over 2,000 procedures, including some that easily would have warranted patients going abroad, e.g., pacemaker insertion, hip replacement, neurosurgeries, etc. In addition, a fully equipped kidney care center established just last year is operational in the same axis and has till date treated over 800 patients and conducted over 2,000 dialysis sessions. The second mother and child hospital in Ondo boasts of qualitative obstetrics, gynecological and neonatal services, all at the most affordable rates. It is pertinent at this point to appreciate the terms of the requisite faculties of the National Postgraduate Medical College, who after a painstaking process formally accredited the Trauma and Surgical Center and the Mother and Child Hospital for postgraduate training in general surgery. Orthopedics and obstetrics and gynecology, respectively, all in less than 3 years from inception. Perhaps this is another noteworthy record set by the Ondo State. With your investment, we now have teaching hospitals in the state, something we have lacked since creation almost 40 years ago. Needless to say, we will continue to invest in our health facility until Ondo is established as a point of reference in medical tourism in Nigeria and beyond. As it is, we are attracting research collaborations of reputable international organizations like UNICEF, London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine in United Kingdom, University of Iowa Hospitals and clinics in the USA, etc. Our human capital development in the last 2 years is unmatched and may well be our greatest era of impact. It is to our credit that from just 5 in 2009, we will now have 25 consultants, an increasing of almost 1,000% with a robust remuneration package. We will continue to invest in the professional workforce because we know how critical a role they play in effective healthcare delivery. According to Nigerian Medical Association, NIMA, we have about 40,000 medical doctors to cater for a population of 170 million, which translates to a doctor-patient ratio of about 1 in 8,000, a far cry from the recommended in 1 in 8,000. The Ondo State is, as usual, has chosen to lead in reversing a disturbing national trend by establishing the first University of Medical Sciences in Nigeria, located in the Medical Village Complex of Ondo West local government area. It is our expectation that when combined with the adjoining tertiary facilities, the institution will be a ready source of manpower, not only for doctors but for other cadre as well. At this point, I want to draw the attention of the audience to the matter that weighs heavy in my mind. It is obvious that in recent time, despite of incessant and often needless strike actions of the health sector has done more damage to the image of our noble profession than perhaps any other factor. Having been involved in unionism during our days as a medical student, I understand the compulsion to stand up against perverse injustice and maltreatment, but you will agree with me that this agitation has been taken into an intolerable level in our country. As it is now different cadres of healthcare workers literally take turns in downing tools, thereby compromising the health of millions of Nigerians, many of whom have died as a direct consequence of these strike actions. We are still on the words of Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, addressing how his administration had catered for healthcare in the state. He has mentioned about how well his government has been in ensuring that they reduce mortality, the death rate of mothers and child during births. He has ensured that he has highlighted how he has ensured that basic amenities, especially hospitals, are being addressed. He has highlighted how his government has been able to cite a medical center, a medical university, and how his government has been in the forefront of ensuring that Ondo State becomes the pride of Nigeria when it comes to health. He has highlighted all of this proudly to state his achievement as governor of the state, particularly his achievement in the health sector. Again, he also mentioned about different programs like the ABA program and so many other programs that his government has been able to provide. It was clear that there needs to be a total overhaul and reform of the health system, and we chose to put maternal and child care at the front burner of medical attention. We are resolute in our conviction that financing should not be a barrier to qualitative health care, and for us to succeed, all pregnant women must be tracked from conception to delivery. 6 years down the line, our homegrown ABA Safe Model Program is today arguably one of the most successfully and talked about healthcare service in the developing world. At this point, I want to draw the attention of the audience to the matter that weighs heavily in my mind. It is obvious that in recent time, despite of incessant and often needless strike actions in the health sector, has done more damage to the image of our noble profession than perhaps any other factor. Having been involved in unionism during my days as a medical student, I understand the compulsion to stand against perceived injustice and maltreatment, but you agree with me that these agitations have been taken to an intolerable level in our country. As it is now, different cadres of health workers literally take turns to down tones, thereby compromising the health of millions of Nigerians, many of whom have died as a direct consequence of these health actions, strike actions. We are duty bound as the recognized leaders of the health system to develop innovative and indigenous ways of expressing our grievances without punishing the innocent needless. The fact that the Nigeria of today ranks poorly in almost all health indexes, it is a pointer to the fact that all hands must be on deck to reverse this unfortunate and embarrassing trend. And the Edo State government, with the best of endeavors, is already on this path. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, there is a saying that the most distinctive of accolades should emanate from one's professional peers. I'm extremely fortunate to be so recognized by mine. Permit me to once again thank the governing board of this esteemed institution for deeming me worthy of this award. May the Almighty God continue to strengthen our future collaboration as we strive the lot of teeming masses in Nigeria in general and Ondo State in particular. This we can achieve by making universal access to affordable and qualitative healthcare services our ultimate goal. On behalf of the good people and the entire staff and government of Ondo State, the Sunshine State, I would thank friends, partners, and well-wishers who have traveled from far and near to celebrate this day with us. We appreciate you and wish you journey messages back to your various destinations. Thank you and God bless. These are the words of Dr. Olusegun Mimiko. And from his speech, there are valuable lessons that can be learned. Leadership in healthcare. Effective leadership is crucial in healthcare sector. Dr. Mimiko's achievements in the Ondo State health sector demonstrate the importance of visionary and proactive leadership in driving transformative change. Focus on maternal and child health care. From his speech, we learned that his administration focused on maternal and child health care. It focused on citing the ABIE program as an example of the intervention. Then collaboration and partnership. We learned that from the speech, Dr. Mimiko said that the government partnered with even the organizations like the WHO and UNICEF to showcase the benefits of working together to address health challenges. Innovative health financing. We also learned from the speech that his government was very particular in innovations in the health sector. Responsible unionism. Healthcare professionals seek to express their grievances responsibly and avoid resorting to frequent and damaging strike actions. State-led health initiative. Continuous improvement. Healthcare system should continuously strive for improvement and excellence. Dr. Mimiko's speech highlights the need to keep pushing for better outcome and enhanced access to healthcare service. Call to actions from Dr. Mimiko's speech. What we can learn from his speech include that we should prioritize health care of the child and the mother as its government did. Prioritize healthcare of the mother and child. That we should invest in human capital, promote innovative healthcare financing. We should engage only in responsible unionism, and that government at all levels must ensure that they foster public health as a priority. That is a call to action from the speech. With that, we come to the end of Dr. Mimiko's address on promoting health in Nigeria, why especially talking about his achievements while he was a governor. Now let us revisit the words of David Adeleke. Revisiting the words of David Adeleke. Harmonizing words through music. Davido's BET Award acceptance speech. Harmonizing words through music. Davido's BET Award acceptance speech. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed readers and participants, and those who appreciate the power of music and cultural exchange, today we invite you to revisit the momentous speech delivered by the acclaimed artist Davido in 2018 as he accepted his prestigious Best International Art Award at the BET Awards. I want to go on a short break. I'll be back.
tó wàá lè di máìkì mú ṣe tó bá mú dání tó bá sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí á pick voice ẹ̀.
Harmonizing words through music. Davido's BET Awards acceptance speech. I invite you all as we revisit the momentous speech delivered by the acclaimed artist Davido in 2018 as he accepted the prestigious Best International Act Award in the Best Award. The self-generated speech echoes the unique style and exact words of the artist himself as he shared his heartfelt sentiments on a global stage. Published by OK Africa News in 2018, his speech captures the essence of Davido's passion for music, his call for collaboration, and his tribute to a fellow artist in a time of sorrow. Join us as we dive into the words and emotions that made this speech a memorable reflection of the artist's character and vision. Let us visit Davido's words. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow music enthusiasts, in the 2019 Best Award, in this 2018 BET Award, is an incredible honor of taking home the Best International Acts Award. It was a moment that filled me with immense gratitude and pride. I'd like to share a few words with you all today. First and foremost, I would like to send my deepest condolences to my big brother, the legendary artist who paved the way for many of us to stand on this stage. The band on your loss is our loss. And I want you to know that you are not alone in this difficult time. You are my brother, and I wish you strength and solace. I urge people from all corners of the world to come to Africa, to experience our culture, to taste our food, to embrace our tradition. Africa, my continent, has been blessed with rich heritage that has influenced and enriched cultures across the globe. It is a place of diversity and creativity, and I believe it's time for all of us to come together and collaborate. Guys, my continent has been blessed to influence other cultures. Let us collaborate, everybody. And I meant every one of it. Music is a universal language that transcends border. And when we come together to create and collaborate, we can achieve incredible things. In this year, 2018, we saw the global impact of African music with hits like Fear, If, and Fall. This music resonates with people worldwide, proving that the power of music knows no bounds. And I stand here today not just as an artist, but as a representative of vibrant and dynamic music scene in Africa. I want to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to all talented artists who nominated alongside me for the Best International Art Awards. Tiwa Savage, J.U.S. Stormzy, Capra Nelves, and Fally Ipupa. Your contributions to music is invaluable, and I salute your artistry. As we move forward, let us remember the words. Let us remember these words, and I will re-emphasize them. Come to Africa, eat the food, wear the clothes. Let us celebrate our cultural richness and diversity. Thank you all for your support, for joining me in this musical journey. Let's continue to make music that unites, inspires, and spread joy to the world. For African music and our global musical community. Thank you, and let's keep the music alive. From this short Davido's BET acceptance speech, there are some lessons that we can pick from it. The first one is the power of collaboration. Davido emphasized the importance of artists coming together to collaborate. This lesson extends beyond music and applies to various fields. As we've been saying, collaboration is key to many endeavors. Celebrating cultural diversity. The artists call to all to come to Africa, experience its culture, and embrace its traditions. Underscores the importance of celebrating and respecting cultural diversity around the world. Another lesson is recognizing musical influence. Davido acknowledged Africa's significant influence on global culture through its music. This lesson reminds us of the cultural richness and diversity that enriches the global creative landscape. Support and compassion. Davido's heartfelt condolences to the band in difficult times highlights the importance of supporting one another. Another lesson we can learn from the speech is music as a universal language. Music transcends language barriers and can unite people. We understand that a lot of us can sing music of languages that we don't even understand. That is the role that music plays as a universal language. The value of authenticity. Davido's genuine and heartfelt words underscores the importance of authenticity in public speakers and personal interactions. Authenticity resonates with audience and builds connection. Acknowledging pioneers. The artist brought tributes to the band and others that have paved way to his success is a lesson to be learned too. Music role in spreading joy. Music is not just an act form, it has the power to spread joy, inspire change, and connect people on a profound level. The call to action from this speech: we should promote cross-sectional collaboration. We should embrace cultural heritage. Let us embrace our cultural heritage. Let us be proud of where we come from. Let us showcase our beauty as a people and as Africans. For those that are artists, let us use music for global connection. Let us use it to pass a message. Let us use it to authenticate some words. We can use music to pass messages. So with that, we've ended visiting of Davido's acceptance speech at the BET Awards. Next, we'll be revisiting Oluyemi Fashikwe's speech on technology as a tool for improved security in Nigeria. Technology as a tool for improved security in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, guests, let us address a pressing concern that has taken center stage across the African continent: the challenge of managing security and resources amidst rapid population growth, urbanization, and evolving security dynamics. Africa, a continent rich in human and natural resources, has seen its potential hindered by the rise in crimes and security threats. As we witness the uncontrolled population growth, it has become imperative for us to adapt and seek innovation, solutions to safeguard lives, properties, and our collective future. In this speech by Oluyemi Fashikwe, we will explore the transformative power of technology, particularly artificial intelligence and electronic security systems, in managing and sustaining peace across Africa. We dive into the significance of embarking modern security measures such as closed circuits, television, CCTVs, drones, silent alarms, and Internet of Things as essential tools to stay ahead of security challenges and foster economic growth. Join me as we together embark on a journey to understand how technology can be a catalyst for a safer and prosperous Africa. The speech: following the uncontrolled population growth across African states, the challenges of managing resources, saving of lives and properties, providing adequate and equal opportunity, bridging social gap, curbing crimes and other challenges has presented itself on greater proportion than expected. As a result of urbanization in many cities of Africa, crimes and other security dynamics have inundated the political landscape, working havoc on its human and natural resources. The use of night guard and analog thug method of curbing and controlling crime is proving more and more inefficient and inadequate. Hence, the need for artificial intelligence in managing sustaining peace. Electronic security gadgets like CCTV, use of controlled drones and other technologies is no doubt the antidote. Many countries in the continent have developed legislation to fight emerging security threats. Unfortunately, the more legislation government makes, the tougher and more adaptive crimes evolves. Inevidently, the need for security apparatus to be 100 miles ahead of security challenges rather than at its pace is inevitable if Africa is to survive. Hence the advent of technology. CCTV enclosed circuit televisions known as video surveillance have been very useful in capturing crime scenes, which aid the security agencies in effective investigation and bringing the law offenders to book. Also worthy to mention is also the development of drones for monitoring border areas and conflict zones, which has been yielding tremendous results in discouraging criminals. Hence, the creation of the ear-piercing burglar alarm system. There has been a profound level of relief among the public and a demand for more cost-effective and efficient technology for security. A synonym to that would be silent alarms, which alerts the appropriate security agency without giving any head start for perpetrators. This has been used with resounding effectiveness in developed countries and would in no doubt help clip away at the rates of crime in African countries. The advent of Internet of Things has simplified the approach and made technology a critical factor in combating the risk management deficient in every society. Technology has since proven to be a critical tool for sustainable security management. The developed society today has invested billions of dollars in cities, states, community, critical infrastructures, real estate sectors on electronic community systems such as surveillance system, access control and other security and surveillance equipment and gadgets. Africa, although are generally still way behind, few notable countries in Africa have shown greater potential in embracing technology. in combating security in their domain. For instance, Nigeria is estimated to be the second largest market for CCTV surveillance system after South Africa and is expected to grow by 5.3% annually till 2022. The impact of technology on African economy in the last decade was tremendous. There has been increased foreign investors contributing to the growth and development of the continent. This cannot be achieved if not by the presence of tested and modern robotic security system. The maximum peace and seniority witnessed by the African countries who have embraced modern technology for security are self-evident to modern technology as the only solution to the growing security in Africa. Thank you for listening. These are the words of Oluyemi Fashikpe on addressing Africa security challenges. So from this speech by Oluyemi Fashikpe, there are lessons that can be learned. Urgency of modernization. In Africa, we need to modernize our security. We need to up our game. In many communities and streets, we still have the local people who are referred to as Olode, the night guards that are basically just there to ring bells to show their presence in our street. This has been the practice from a long time. But from this speech and address by Oluyemi Fashikpe, it addresses the use of modernized equipment. That it is time for Africa to use modernized equipment to address security issues. Security issues I would say goes beyond the regular means. It also includes being able to prevent crimes. It goes beyond picking up the criminal. It also involves prevention of the criminal acts from being happening, and that is the place of modernization. Technology as a game changer, just like we said. Another lesson is importance of surveillance. Yes, surveillance. This is a method that can be used to oversee activities of a building, of a surrounding, of an environment, even while you are not physically present there. Then adaptive criminals. The speech mentions that as legislation increases, criminals adapt and evolve. This lesson emphasizes the importance of staying one step ahead of criminal activities. That regularly and constantly we should have a review of our criminal policies. That as these policies are being reviewed, the criminals also up their game. So regularly this should be checked. Then economic impact. The speech highlights how embracing modern technology for security can attract foreign investment and stimulate economic growth. Call to action from this speech. The first call to action is that we should embrace modern technology in addressing security. It is high time that in our little shops, in our little business centers, in our little places of work, in our little stores, we employ the use of modern security. Either it is by CCTV, either it is by more modernized security doors, whether it is by surveillance. We should embrace technology in our address to security. Another call to action is youth involvement. The we, you should engage. The youth should engage in technological innovations for security. Um, the youth should be empowered. Young Africans should be empowered with skills and resources ahead to contribute to the development of security solutions that address their specific needs and challenges. Advocacy and networking. We should utilize the use of social media platforms and online communities to advocate for the importance of embracing technology for security in Africa. Connect with like minds and organizations to share experiences and best practices. So, these are the words of Oluyemi Fashikpe on his address on using modern technology to combat African security. Now let's go to the words of Aung San Suu. Aung San Suu is addressed at the 101st International Labour Conference statement. Aung San Suu 101st International Labour Congress statement. Aung San Suu 101st International Labour Conference statement. In the realm of human rights and democratic struggles, few names resonate as powerfully as that of Aung San Suu, a symbol of courage, relentless, and unwavering commitment to the pursuit of justice. She has emerged as a global icon for peace and democracy. At the 101st International Labour Congress, Aung San Suu delivered a poignant statement that captivated the hearts and minds of the audience. In her impassioned address, she shed light on the critical role of labor rights. She shed light on the critical role of labor rights in the journey towards freedom and the realization of a just society. As we dive into the pages that follow, we embark on a profound exploration of Aung San Suu's words, seeking inspiration and insights into the transformative power of labor rights, the pursuit of social justice, and the indomitable spirit of those dedicated to securing a brighter future for all. The speech by Aung San Suu on the 101st International Labour Congress. The welcome that I have received this morning have forced me to move a little away from my prepared text with apologies to the interpreters. Mr. President of the conference, the Director General, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, before I start on my prepared address, I would like to thank you all for this totally unexpected, very warm welcome. It has moved me profoundly, and I hope that in the future we shall be able to work together to build a world where all of us can move closer to one another. I was saying to Mr. Somavia, he just told me how to pronounce his name correctly. I was saying to Mr. Somavia that whenever I meet people from South America, I feel as though I am meeting members of my own family, because we have been through the same experience. Our country but I think this applies to many other countries besides the ones in South America. So coming here, it feels like though I have come back to meet long lost members of my family, and I hope that this will by no means be the last meeting. The International Labour Conference is a pioneer and an example of inclusiveness. Delegates of workers and employers as well as governments coming together to find effective solutions to complex problems demonstrate the value of meaningful exchange between relevant stakeholders. However, I do not stand here as a representative of workers or employers or of government, or yet anyway. Perhaps you could accept me as the fourth element. I am the one of those countless people whose lives are impacted by labor issues. I am also a politician, so perhaps I could make a claim to be the fifth element. As well, the elements that represent the interests of the general public. I still feel a little self-conscious about referring to myself as a recently elected member of the parliament, which I presume is the correct formal definition of my status. My association with the ILO, which goes back several years, has been based on my responsibility as a politician. More precisely, it is based on the activities of my party. The National League for Democracy, related to democracy and human rights. We cooperated to the best of our ability with the ILO and other interested organizations and individuals over the issues of forced labors and child soldiers. The report of the Committee on the Application of Standards sets the progress that has been achieved in those areas since the situation was last reviewed, as well as remaining concerned. This is little I have to add to the content of this comprehensive report. Today, I would like to address the issue that has arisen as a corollary to changes that have taken place in Burma over the last year. The initiative towards democratization taken by President Thein Sein. The government have been welcomed by the people of our country as well as the international community. In addition to measures aimed at political reforms, there has been considerable effort to effect positive changes in the economic sector. One of the few remaining countries in the world with vast potential waiting to be realized. Burma has attracted the acute attention of business interests as well as of government and agencies desirous of encouraging and supporting the reform process. The ILO is unique in that social, political and economic issues correlate its work. It is therefore appropriate for me to speak from this forum of concern related to the opportunities offered by the changing situation in my country. All rights should be balanced by responsibilities. Opportunities should be linked to profits as if we are to avoid the dangers of exploitation. What I would like to see for our country is democracy-friendly development growth. I would like to call for aid and investment that will strengthen the democratization process by promoting social and economic progress that is beneficial to political reforms. The National League for Democracy has repeatedly emphasized the need for rule of law and end to ethnic conflict in our country. And unless these basic requirements are met, the foundation for healthy social, political and economic growth cannot be laid down. Strong democratic institutions that will guarantee basic human rights are necessary to ensure good governance based on transparency, accountability and enhancement of integrity. Am I overly ambitious? Perhaps yes. I think I am ambitious. But unless we aim at achieving the best that might be possible, we will be in danger of having to make do with the least that is tolerable. In the short run, the long run as powers of tolerance runs out, unrest and instability will erode the progress that has been already gained. The resolution adopted by the 101st session concerning the mayors on the subject of Mahama, adopted under Article 33 of the ILO Constitution, reflects positive steps that have been taken over the last year. The ambassador of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar expressed the opinion that this resolution fell short of his government's expectations. The worker vice person, on the other hand, stated that it was not easy for the workers to accept the resolution. A good number of the provisions of the resolution had been met in law, but much remains to be done. If they were to become reality in practice, a worker of the delegation from Burma, however, focused mainly on the creation of job opportunities and urged the lifting of suspension of all international sections and also invited investment. Although I did not officially represent workers or employees or government in the capacity of the fifth element, I met in preparation of my trip to Geneva individuals and organizations that have been engaged in the promotion of workers' rights over many years. Those I met in Burma expressed concern that reflect the presentation made by the workers' member to the committee on the application of standards with regards to forced labor. In addition, they highlighted the importance of ensuring legislature that would protect workers' rights. They pointed out that although a number of laws relating to labor were theoretically enforced at present, some are obsolete or anachronistical. Some have not been translated into Burmese, and some, such as the Minimum Wage Act, have neither been abolished or replaced, nor yet in force either force. Further, they have expressed concern that the newly enacted Workers' Association Act did promote sufficient protection from government and interference in the matter of trade union funding, and that strike regulations should be less restrictive to avoid biases in favor of employers. They also put forward their opinion that the Workers' Association Act should be entitled the Labor Union or the Labor Union Act, and that it should cover other workers besides those in industry. The above points related to new labor legislation indicate the need for greater transparency and legislative process, that the view of stakeholders should be taken into consideration before new laws are promulgated. More democratic practices will offer greater protection for the rights of workers and all citizens in general. The creation of job opportunities was also a high priority for the advocates of workers' rights. They permitted detailed recommendations ranging from the kind of foreign direct investment they considered desirable to the role that government should play to ensure the right kind of business practices. I list some of these below, and this conference might see that despite many years of isolation and repression, our people can still boast a social, political, and economic awareness that, given sufficient latitude, would bring our country in line with positive development in the rest of the world. I would still like to stress the problem of youth unemployment. As I have said repeatedly, it's not so much joblessness as hopelessness that threatens our future. Our unemployed youth lose focus in the society that has failed to give them the chance to realize their potential. Problems related to drink and drug abuse and vagrants are abound as restless, directionless youth agonize over the fruitlessness of their existence. Vocational training links to job creation is imperative if we are to safeguard the future by giving our youth the capacity to handle effectively the responsibility that inevitably falls to them one day, which may not be that far away. Foreign direct investment that results in job creation should be invited. Investors should adhere to code of practice, track records in regards to internationally accepted labor standards, and environmental responsibility should be examined. Suitable benefits, including the acquirement of modern technologies, should be the aim. Responsible foreign investment in agribusiness should be beneficial with the right precaution taken to protect small holders. State enterprise is marked by privatization should be made more competitive, and small and medium-scale enterprise such as electricity product and spare parts of machinery are encouraged. Preferred FDI were those related to the tourism and to the development of efficient financial services and basic infrastructure. If investment in extractive industries should be approached with particular care. These above recommendations, inspired by representatives of workers, are strikingly similar in many respects to those of an eminent economist who has studied the situation in Burma for many years. Development of the tourist industry, creation of a viable financial system, investment of a source of new ideas and new technologies, and inspiration. He also advised transparency and accountability in energy sector and extractive industries in general. The Marmara Oil and Gas Enterprise (MOGE), the state-owned company under the Ministry of Energy, with which all foreign participation in the energy sector takes place through joint venture arrangement, lacks both transparency and accountability at present. The government needs to apply international recognized standards such as the IMF Code of Good Practice on fiscal transparency. Other countries could help by not allowing their own companies to partner MOGE unless it was signed up to such codes. This would also ensure that their own companies would subject to the above codes themselves and to the various requirements to publish what you pay. I support wholeheartedly the view that domestic environment should be structured to make the best use of property investment. Property rights, rule of law, broad economic stability, functioning infrastructure, which would include soft infrastructure such as education, and then honest, efficient civil service. Greater accessibility to energy, transport and communication. Including telephone and electronic communication will need particular attention. There is a wide range of reforms that could be undertaken in Burma, not just to make investment attractive, but to make it sustainable and truly beneficial for our people. A democracy-friendly development policy of coordinated social and political A democracy-friendly development policy of coordinated and social, political and economic reform will give our country once again on the map of the positive and the successful. No country can claim genuine independence until all its people can enjoy the basic freedom. Freedom from want, and freedom from fear. In such a discussion of potential economic progress, we cannot leave out those of our people who are suffering from insufficient protection of their rights as workers in other lands than our own. During my recent visit to Thailand, I had the opportunity of meeting migrant workers and their representatives and individuals, an organization dedicated to the protection of workers' rights. More than 80% of migrant workers in Thailand are from Burma. It was presented to me that in spite of the 2003 MOU and 2009 nationality verification process to change irregular worker status to legal status through ensuring Burmese passports, migrant workers are still facing frequent and significant rights violations because neither Burma nor Thailand has adopted a rights-based approach to managing migration. As exemplified in numerous ILO conventions and most importantly in the comprehension of the 1990 UN Convention on